In this demo, we are going to learn how to read one CSV file using Spark, and then we'll see a couple of methods which will help us to analyze the data. Now, the best part about this particular video is that we are going to cover two programming languages. One is using Scala, second is using Python. Now, first thing what we are going to do here is create one Scala object. So right click on this package, then select Scala object, and I will name it demo1. Finish and type man and press Control space. Look for this particular option and double click. This way we have imported man method. Next is we are going to import Spark session. So over here you can see we have imported a Spark session over here, and then we are creating Spark session variable. And if you are from Python background, you may notice that we are using one keyword like val. So in Scala we have var and val. So if a variable is with val keyword, this one, that means we cannot modify the content of this particular variable. In case if it is var, that means we can change the content of it. Next point here is in master we are passing it as local and 1. Whereas right now I wanted to execute this particular code in my local machine. And here I'm just giving 1 so that it will use one particular core of my machine. In case I wanted to use all the core available in my machine, that time I can say it as a star. But for this demo, I will keep it as 1. Next is application name. This you can pass anything, whatever you like. And the next point is get or create. That means if this particular session is already available, that time it's just going to reuse it. Otherwise, it is going to create a new session. Now in Spark, it used to give lot of log. Those are just informations. But we are not interested in information logs. So I have set the log level to error, so that if there will be any error, that time only I will get the logs. Next is I'm just going to print one line called Spark session has been created. This is just to ensure like I'm able to create the Spark session and this particular code is fine. And finally stopping this particular Spark session. Now let's right click and run as Scala application. And here in the log you can see Spark session has been created. That means this code is working fine. Next we are going to read CSV file. Let's create one variable to store the CSV data. I will call it val CSV data. Then I will call the Spark session. Spark. I want to read something. So read, and then I will select this particular option. Dot. Spark can read multiple data format. That option we can see over here. But for this particular example, I'm going to read CSV data. So I will call CSV, and then finally I will pass the path of the file. Save this. Now in order to print this particular data, we have to call show method. CSV data dot show. Save this code. Right click, run as Scala application. Here you can see we got the data, but there is a small problem. This CSV data has its own header. However, Spark is assigning some default header information. So now we have to inform Spark that for this particular file, take the first row as header. I will call option, and here the header, and this header is available, so true. Let's re-execute this code. And this time you can see we got proper header information. Now let's do one more thing. We are going to print the schema of this particular data. So CSV data, then print schema. Save this one. Let's re-execute. And here you can see that for all these columns, Spark has identified them as a string. So by default, it's consider it as a string. However, we know like salary should be integer, employee ID should be integer, and but it's not able to identify that. So in order to change the schema information, what we have to do is we have to pass one more option. The option, then info schema true. Save this one. Let's re-execute the code. This time you can see it has identified the proper schema for all these columns. Employee ID is integer, first name, last name is string, salary is integer, full-time indicator is boolean, and last one is string. So what infer schema do is it look this particular data, and based upon the sample data which Spark will read, it will assign the proper data type. So similar to the print schema, we have dtypes which also provide the schema information. So let's execute this code. And over here you can see we have all this schema information in a form of tuple. We have some more method to see the data, like head, which will return first row. We have first method which also return the first row. Then we have take method which take one integer argument and it will return that many records. So over here I'm going to print 3 records. All right, so let's execute this code. And here you can see using the head method we got first row. Using the first method also we got the first row, and we are using take method to print first 3 row, which is these 3. All right, describe is one of the most interesting method which provide statistics about particular column, or even we can generate it for full data frame. So let's see, we have CSV data, then I will call describe, and here I can pass one particular column name. Let's say emp underscore id, and I'll print so this way I can print the statistics about this particular column. Let's run this code. And here you can see there are 9 records. Main value is 105 and minimum maximum value, all these things has been printed. Now if you wanted to get this information for more than one column, then we have to pass that particular column name. Say for salary also we wanted to get this information. Save this code, let's re-execute. And here you can see we got the statistics about salary column. So on average people are earning 120 for this particular data set. And if this will be blank, that time you will get statistics about all the columns. Okay. Now last one is where we are going to talk about execution plan. So whenever we execute any code in Spark, behind the back, Spark will create a plan to perform that activity. And if you wanted to see that particular plan, we have to use, let's say for this particular data from creation, we wanted to see the plan. We have to call explain and pass here true so that nothing will get truncate. Save this one, execute. And here you can see all the plans, like this is physical layer plan, this is optimized logical plan, analyzed plan. So how data or this operation is performed, all the details has been given here. So it is start from the file scanning till creating the data frame.